Come closer, please. You know, death is inevitable, but it is not contagious, so come closer. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the Newbar tomb in the Hook and Ladder Cemetery. My name is Robert L. Maness, but everybody called me Luther. I was born in Fulton, Tennessee on November the 4th of 1875. Yes, you're right. As a young man, I followed the lumber industry and wound up in Hammond, Louisiana. While I was there, I joined the Army and served as a corporal in Company F of the 1st Regiment. And we fought in the Spanish-American War in 1898. After the war, I moved to Gretna, where I met and married Albertine Neubauer. We lived on the 200 block of Amelia Street. We had 5 children: Robert, Frank, Thalba, Alvin, and Mabel. All of them got married, and all but one of them raised families here in Gretna. We have a 6th generation of the Maness family still living in Gretna. In fact, I have 2 great-grandchildren working in the cemetery here tonight: Frank Maness III and Val Maness Coles. Frank and Robert and the 2 girls built houses on Holly Drive. Alvin lived in the family home on Amelia Street, and so did his son, Ike. Both of them are buried here with me tonight, in this tomb. And the last, well, so is his wife Evelyn, come to think of it, and my grandson James, and his wife's parents. We have a full house here. The last burial here was a dear friend of the family, Leo Beane. After he was buried, the tomb was cleaned up, painted, made pretty. And he gets lots of visitors. Sometimes they leave coins on the tomb, which indicates that they served with him in the Civil Air Patrol. Oh, and he worked with the Gretna Historic Society. He helped with the first cemetery tour. He knew this cemetery backwards and forwards. He made sure that all of us talking dead folks on the tour had all the water we need. Nice to have a young military man here to talk to. You know, I had the first car in Gretna. It was a 1907 Pierce Arrow. Got a picture down here if you'd like. Those were exciting times. I also operated the first service station on 2nd Street, around the corner from my house. Oh, back then, you know, you would hand pump gas from an underground tank, and it would fill a glass measuring container that was above your head, and gravity would feed the gas into your car. And you know, in 1920, 50 cents would fill up your gas tank. Folks around town claimed that I had a bit of a drinking problem. I had no problem drinking. I enjoyed it. In fact, one day, I wanted a drink badly, and I was flat broke. So, I got the sword from my Army uniform and traded it in for a bar tab. That sword proudly hung above the bar of Sam Michelli's place on 3rd Street for many years. So speaking of proudly, you know, back in the early 1920s, the citizens of Gretna got together and they raised $18,000 to build a memorial for war veterans. The Jefferson Memorial Arch prominently stands on Huey Long Avenue in front of City Hall up there by the river. On it they put plaques with the names of those who served in the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, and World War I. It was dedicated on September the 11th, 1923. big celebration, parades with dignitaries from all around the state. Bands played patriotic music, and politicians, VFW and American Legion leaders all made speeches. And of course, I listened to every one of them. After World War II, they added the names of the veterans who were killed in World War II. Last year, the arch was cleaned up and re-landscaped as part of a drainage project. Well, after 100 years, the names on the arch were getting harder to read. So, earlier this fall, the Gretna Historic Society funded a project to paint the names so that they're easier to read. Now, I guess after 100 years, a little maintenance is necessary, huh? Well, I died in January of 1943 at the age of 68. I don't need maintenance. You know the cannons on each side of the street by the arch? They were used in the Spanish-American War. Of course, afterwards they were discarded and they were thrown into the river. Well, fortunately, later on they were recovered and they were donated to the city. Now, had I known about those cannons in the river, I think I could have cleared out a couple of more bar tabs. Well, a good night and enjoy your tour.
Mr. Luther is portrayed by Irvin Schwarz. He is a member of the Gretna Historical Society and an actor in all 9 cemeteries.
Thank you. You're welcome. And for those of you who read the names on the tombs, you notice my name isn't here?
Right.
Because there's too many people in here. My name is